This is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus AEW Dark. This is from, 4/20/2021. I'm sure that excites many of the people listening to this. How was this AEW Dark? You know, AEW Dark is not going to lose its status anytime soon, clearly, as the C-list show for AEW. But they are trying to pile up content to eventually sell, and I ain't mad at them. And I'll say that the quality of the jobber matches is very good. They didn't have a single, what I would call a competitive match. Those, I believe, are just being saved for AEW Dark Elevation on Monday. And before people complain about that, why wouldn't you spread it out? You gotta have differences. You got to have levels. Somebody's got to be the C show, because if you have that C show, then people will naturally gravitate more often to your B show. If nothing is special, right? If you try to make everything special, then nothing is. And right now, Elevation gets at least twice the viewership of AEW Dark. You still have the 200,000 or so adamant people, the diehards that will watch all three shows, I'm sure. Dark tends to get the least amount of viewership, but it is also the night before Dynamite, so they tend to do more Dynamite direct promoting on the show. We open with the Darby promo. I see what I'm saying. We open before we even do the credits or do the opening, the official opening for Dark. We have Darby cutting a promo about Jungle Boy, how he's annoyed that people are saying that they're very much the same. He's like, you need approval. I need championships. I like it. We opened the show, got Taz and Excalibur on commentary. I noticed that they're toning down their act. They're still having fun, but it's not constant and it's not begging. And when they do stuff that's funny, it's actually funny. They're running gag about bingo halls because of what Christian said to Taz, which you can tell legitimately bothered Taz, is pretty great, I gotta say. It entertained me, certainly. Now I'm going to grade these matches on a 3-check scale. For those who've listened for a long time know what that scale is, but I'm going to go over it again because I pick up new listeners all the time, which is very much appreciated. The 3 check marks go as follows. 1 check mark for the proper person being put over, because these are all jobber matches. We just got to make sure the right person's winning, and they're winning in a definitive fashion. A 2nd check mark if that person looks really good in the process that's winning. And then a 3rd check mark if the person who's losing does a great job in defeat or is given an inordinately large amount of offense by the person they are beating. And I usually pick a performer of the show as well that I make sure I highlight, because again, these are people who, for the most part, who are trying to get jobs, and anything I can do to help that and point out the good job that they're doing is appreciated by them. But moreover, I feel like it's an important part of what I do. It's why people listen to me. You can read recaps of the show. Who gives a fuck? You can read even freaking move by move descriptions of the bell to bell. People ask why I don't do that, because I don't give a fuck about that. I give a fuck about the level of performance, especially in these jobber matches, and the general tone and feeling of the show, because again, these are works in progress, and I love that about AEW, especially these YouTube shows. I'm trying to pull the value out, especially for the wrestling heavy clientele that watch and listen to these things, meaning people in the wrestling business. That's who most of the people who watch me and listen to me are, as opposed to wrestling fans. Of course, wrestling fans watch and listen. That's great. But for the most part, people know one of my many catchphrases, and that is fuck the fans. Ouch, that's harsh. Let's go to match number 1. This, by the way, is AEW Dark number 85. Holy crap, I've been covering these for a long time. And it was a little over an hour and a half show, and it had 13 matches, which is unusual. Usually they have a nice even amount. It's not the neither one Elevation or Dark wasn't the crazy marathons last week's were, thank the Lord. But I get that they're piling on footage and they're giving a lot of opportunities to a lot of people, so I ain't mad at them. That's why part of the reason I cover these things. Match number 1, Will Alday versus Joey Janela. Joey Janela tends to do really well with these matches, but then, he's still prominent on the indie scene. And this was a very indie-tastic kind of match, if I'm being honest, without a lot of the fireworks and bells and whistles, but it really felt like an indie match. Joey Janela wins with the DVD, an infinitely forgettable match, if I'm being honest. I did like that he and Sonny Kiss had sort of matching gear. I'll give it, let's see. I'll give it 1 check mark in the beginning because Joey Janela went over with the Death Valley Driver in a definitive fashion. Joey Janela looked good in the process, so that's a 2nd check mark. And then Will Alday definitely kept up his end of the bargain and did his thing, so I'll give it a 3rd check mark. We've had 5 AEW Darks that had 3 check marks all night long, so it's a hard thing to get, believe it or not. Match number 2, John Skyler, one of my favorites, and Ryzen, another guy who I think does a really good job, who obviously is on the verge of having a permanent place in AEW if he doesn't already, against SCU. SCU really excel at these matches. Kazarian and Daniels, consummate pros, really out to make the other guys look good, and they went over with the BME. All nicely executed, really good stuff. We've kind of lost the thread of if SCU loses, they have to break up. We haven't gotten them into dangerous waters. And it's one of the things about AEW having such a huge roster and really only one show where the big stuff happens, meaning Dynamite, is stuff like the SCU angle kind of goes by the wayside. Now, I would imagine that eventually they're going to get a tag team title shot, that's where this is going. So that is interesting. But we're definitely losing this through line of SCU being in danger and the relationship is between Kazarian and Daniels being in some kind of peril. That's definitely gone by the wayside. It's one of those things that just sort of faded away. Hopefully they can kind of kickstart that again. 3 check marks, though. Skyler's always good. Ryzen's always good. Great job, guys. Match number 3, the twin sisters of Ashley and Steph MK against Kylan King and Big Swole. I saw recently where people were saying like, Big Swole, I wish she would get a bigger push. She's not that good yet. She's getting there though, and this is better. I do like that they have changed their finisher from Big Swole's rather complicated dirty dancing stuff. Just Kylan King hitting him with a good-looking kick and then a rolling elbow from Big Swole puts them away. I like this trend of AEW of the tag teams kind of looking for better and better finishers because when you find it, like Butcher and Blade have finally found a really good, easy-to-do finisher that does not risk injuring anybody, then you stick with that. But until then, you find stuff that works. I like it. I had a Ricky Starks promo. It was nice to see. Really good stuff. He's good on the mic. Dark and Elevation are a good place to have promos. I like it. I wish they would do more of that stuff. I'm glad they didn't make the Britt Baker talk show lame, the waiting room, right? They didn't kill it and make it, bad. They ended it before it could become lame. But I don't think there's anything wrong with throwing in more promos, having that kind of thing. Honestly, I think it's a good look, and it's good for the guys and women to have their moments. Match number 4, so 3 check marks all the way around. Speaking of Butcher and Blade, here they are against Cole Carter and Brick Aldridge. A good outing. I like that in AEW, the stars are going to this thing of, instead of fooling around and having these incredibly long matches, proportional to what they should be, they're tending to just demolish these guys, and that's kind of what it should be. They win with Drag the Lake, which is basically suplex into a powerbomb position. I really like that move. I think it works. I think it's effective. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about where you have a different kind of promo. So you have JD Drake Ryan Nemeth and Cesar Bononi, who, right, it was a very odd collection of guys, right? But they're having this bit about dressing JD Drake nicer and how he's declaring that I can look sexy. It's ludicrous, but it's the kind of fun thing that they used to do on Dark all the time, and I like it. And I want to see the result, and I'm glad they didn't pay it off this week. Hopefully they pay it off next week. JD Drake trying to look sexy in a nice shirt. Again, small stuff, but I like it. I really do. We have Sonny Kiss against Jake Manning. The man scout who's been around forever and a day. It's kind of strange that he's here working his shtick. I get it, but I just wonder what the value is beyond doing it that much longer. I assume Jake Manning is here as a favorite of Colt Cabana since they kind of work together. I'm just making that assumption, though. Sonny Kiss wins the match, but then cuts a promo, and the promo was quite good. We need to let Sonny Kiss keep cutting these promos. And I saw the response online was very good to this promo. We have an ad for the Double or Nothing casino game. And then we move on to match number 6, Stu Grayson, number 10, and Evil Uno against Midas Black, Jay Lyon doing their silly shit, and then Ken Broadway doing his Flash the Money bit. Good job by those three guys. And when you're in there with multiple incarnations of the Dark Order, generally you're there to like let them ping pong you around, and this was no exception. They win with the fatality, 3 check marks. Again, it's a good solid show. Billy Gunn against Andrew Palace. It was great to see Billy Gunn win with the Famouser and then cut the promo on QT where he's taking a much more serious bent. I like it. I'm looking forward to this match between QT and Billy Gunn. I like where they're going with that story. Great job. 3 check marks. Dante Martin against Fuego del Sol. Dante Martin of Top Flight. His partner is injured, so they're really giving him a nice singles run here. He wins with a 450, a very great looking 450 that landed with impact. I really liked it. 3 check marks. Dante Martin. The only thing about him is without his partner, he really feels sort of generic, the look and everything like that. They got to find a way to, I don't know, put some edge on this kid or give him something distinct besides just his ring work. Match number 9, Diamante against Queen Aminata. That finisher of her, like basically straight jacketing her up with the arms and then doing a body scissors, I like it. That's Diamante. You've been looking for a finisher. This is it. Stick with it because nobody's doing anything quite like it. And I really like it. 3 check marks. We're rolling. Wrestling with the Week, which I guess is going into season 2, whatever that means. It's an awkward thing where Scorpio Sky comes off as very affable in these commercials for his podcast. And yet he's a heel. And again, people would say like, oh, Steve, that doesn't really matter. It kind of matters. I would, I don't know. I think that's an interesting chance to take a different kind of bent with the podcast, and maybe it would get a different viewership. Match number 10, Kit Sackett and Halen Backlund against Varsity Blondes. Hayden Backlund kind of looked a little bit lost in this match, if I'm being honest. The Varsity Blondes, though, whatever problems I had with them as far as showing a genuine chemistry, are gone. They look really good. They have a lot to talk about when they talk about them. The dichotomy, the difference between Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. Griff Garrison, by the way, who's looking really, really good. Just really great work all around. The Varsity Blondes win here with the Powerbomb and X Factor thing, which I really like. Keep it. They've been looking for a finisher and doing different things every time. And I know somebody might be in their ear saying like, yeah, just do different finishers every day. No. You got to establish one. And this one worked for me. The Powerbomb, well, the other one drops with the X Factor. I liked it. Keep it. I'm only going to give this one 2 check marks, however, because I felt like the team that they beat weren't really up to snuff, but the Varsity Blondes are good enough now to carry a team through. Match number 11, Max Caster of the Acclaimed against number 5. I guess you could call this a competitive match. I'll be generous and call it as such for I still use a 3 checkmark system for competitive matches. 1, if both people look good, which in this case they do. A 2nd checkmark if the person who wins does so in a memorable fashion. Max Caster certainly did. They tried to get the boombox involved, but that got intercepted. He got the chain as 5 dodged the chain, knocked him down with a kick, a 1, 2, and when Max Caster kicked out, he hit him with the chain and pinned him. Very different, very clever, nice surprise. And then a 3rd check mark if something has been advanced. And certainly Max Caster continuing to win in nefarious means. And he's the only one who's really doing that to a large extent. Advances his thing for Dynamite, possibly. So 3 check marks here. Match 12, Baron Black against Powerhouse Hobbs. This is just a jobber match, and Baron Black did fine in it. Powerhouse Hobbs just absolutely crushed him. I like his finisher. They've been looking for a new finisher for Powerhouse Hobbs as well. The Emerald Fusion, I think, works just as well. Now stick to it and have him continue to do it. 3 check marks, sure. Match 13, Pac against Dean Alexander. Pac with an incredibly quick win to end the night. And that's your AEW Dark Report. I'm Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling.